He is an affront to civilized society. He decided that he was not going to play by anybody's rules, that he wanted to kill, and he was going to kill, and he was going to continue killing.
For everything he did to the girls, the bludgeoning and the strangulation, humiliating their bodies, torturing them. I feel that the electric chair is too good for him.
Ted Bundy is one of the most notorious serial killers in American history, known for his charm, intelligence, and horrifying brutality. Born Theodore Robert Cowell on November 24, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont, Bundy was raised under complicated family dynamics. His mother, Eleanor Louise Cowell, gave birth to him out of wedlock, and for the first few years of his life, Bundy was raised by his grandparents. He grew up believing his mother was his sister, a lie that would shape his troubled psyche. Bundy was highly intelligent and had a promising future ahead.
Here is a man who seemingly had everything. He's intelligent, he's charismatic, he's handsome. He was on his way in the Republican Party. I thought he would be governor of Washington now rather than going to the chair.
He attended the University of Washington, where he studied psychology and law, but his academic career was interrupted by a string of heinous crimes that would leave a mark on history. Please subscribe to our channel and make comments about what you think of our videos. Ted Bundy's murder spree began in the 1970s, but his tendencies toward violent behavior may have started long before. He later admitted that he had developed an unhealthy obsession with pornography and would often fantasize about domination, violence, and control over women.
My experience with, I'd say, pornography generally, but with pornography that deals on a violent level with sexuality, is that once you become addicted to it, and I look at this as a kind of addiction, like an addiction, you keep craving something which is harder, something which gives you a greater sense of excitement.
Between 1974 and 1978, Bundy went on a killing spree that spanned multiple states, including Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, and Florida. His victims were typically young women, often in their late teens or early 20s, and many resembled one another in appearance. Slender, with long, straight hair parted in the middle. He would often approach them in public places, pretending to be injured by wearing a sling or cast or impersonating an authority figure like a police officer. Once they were isolated, Bundy would overpower, abduct, and ultimately murder his victims. His methods were brutal. He strangled or bludgeoned the women to death, and in some cases, engaged in necrophilia with their corpses. One of Bundy's most terrifying traits was his ability to blend into society. Unlike the stereotypical image of a criminal, Bundy was articulate, well-dressed, and appeared unthreatening. This allowed him to get close to his victims without raising suspicion.
Ted, after you committed your first murder, what was the emotional effect on you?
It was like coming out of some kind of horrible trance or dream, to have been possessed by something so awful and so alien, and then the next morning wake up from it.
Please subscribe to our channel and make comments about what you think of our videos. He used this facade of normalcy to escape detection for years. In the early stages of his crime spree, authorities had few leads. Despite multiple women disappearing from public places, Bundy remained undetected, leaving little evidence behind. His luck ran out in 1975, when he was arrested in Utah for attempting to abduct Carol Duranch, a woman who had narrowly escaped his grasp. Following his arrest, police began connecting Bundy to disappearances in nearby states. Bundy was later convicted of aggravated kidnapping in 1976, but managed to escape from custody twice while awaiting trial for murders in Colorado. During his second escape in December 1977, he fled to Florida, where his killing spree resumed with brutal force. On January 15, 1978, he committed one of his most infamous crimes, the Chi Omega sorority house murders at Florida State University in Tallahassee. Bundy broke into the sorority house and brutally attacked 4 women while they slept, killing 2 of them. The violence of the attacks shocked the nation. Shortly after, he kidnapped and murdered 12-year-old Kimberly Leach in Lake City, Florida. This murder would later be central to his conviction. Bundy was finally apprehended in February 1978 when police stopped him for driving a stolen car. His capture brought relief to the public, but Bundy's manipulative nature was on full display during his trials. Representing himself in court, he used his legal knowledge to create delays and obstruct the prosecution's efforts. During his Florida trials, Bundy gained national attention, partly due to his bizarre behavior in the courtroom. At one point, he proposed to his longtime girlfriend, Carol Ann Boone, in front of the judge during his trial for the murder of Kimberly Leach. Boone accepted, and under Florida law at the time, the marriage was legally binding since it occurred in open court. Bundy was convicted in 1979 for the Chi Omega murders and later for the murder of Kimberly Leach.
There was an inward thrill in selecting a victim, and it was usually at night. It was usually after he'd had a couple of beers to steady his nerves, and he would go out and he would literally hunt.
Ted Bundy needs to die. He needed to die 10 years ago or longer, and he should not have been allowed to live this long.
Despite multiple appeals, Bundy's death sentence was upheld. His behavior while awaiting execution only added to his notoriety. He granted interviews in which he downplayed his crimes, but as his execution date neared, Bundy began to confess in detail to his horrific acts. In his final days, Bundy admitted to the murders of over 30 women, though many believe the true number could be much higher.
For the record, you are guilty of killing many women and girls. Is that correct?
Yes.
Where did it start? How did this moment come about?
I grew up in a wonderful home with 2 dedicated and loving parents, one of 5 brothers and sisters. But as a young boy, and I mean a boy of...
We still don't believe it. It just can't be. I keep shaking my head day after day, saying, how can this be? Because our son is the best son in the world. He's a very normal, active boy.
On January 24, 1989, Bundy was executed in the electric chair at Florida State Prison. Crowds gathered outside the prison, celebrating the end of his reign of terror. Bundy's case has left a lasting impact on criminal psychology, law enforcement, and public understanding of serial killers. He was a unique figure in that he hid his monstrous nature beneath a veneer of charm, making his crimes all the more horrifying. Ted Bundy's legacy is one of deception, manipulation, and extreme violence. His ability to evade capture for years, his escapes from prison, and his heinous acts have made him a figure of both revulsion and fascination in the annals of criminal history. Please subscribe to our channel and make comments about what you think of our videos.